After the divination, Mayumi Takeuchi put away the pen in her hand, but after doing all this, she looked a little weak. Some people hurried over to look at the fortune, while others pretended to be indifferent, but their eyes still glanced over here involuntarily. As the boss, Feng Huangyuan Jin, picked up the scroll and read it carefully. His eyes became brighter and brighter, and the arc of his mouth became bigger and bigger. "Their people are coming!" "And there are a lot of people," Jinguji said with a look of disgust. Some of the others looked calm, while others looked excited. Feng Huangyuan looked up at everyone and began to assign tasks one by one. "Ryuzawa and my wife, you two go to the southeast." As a couple, Takashi Takizawa and my wife Nanako nodded and immediately took their weapons and left the warehouse. "Nobunaga, you go to the west. The enemies there are suitable for you." The samurai Tsukamoto Nobunaga looked lazy, said nothing, just picked up his samurai sword and left silently. "Da Gonghui, go east. Your fortune is there today." Da Gonghui Yanjin, a 2-meter-tall, bear-like black-faced man, also walked out carrying a cello case. Feng Huangyuan assigned tasks to his subordinates according to the divination in the Takeuchi scroll. Soon, more than half of the people in the room were gone. The short-haired high school student was called Shishimono Satoru. He was completely unaware of these things and just cooked his lunch with a smile. Feng Huangyuan came to him and squatted down. He took out a wooden spoon from his arms and scooped a mouthful of soup from the pot into his mouth. Then he showed an expression of enjoyment on his face. "It tastes really good. I can have a full meal again." I don't know if he was talking about the food or the next battle. Linhai City. Although the people from the Jiangnan regional headquarters had not arrived, they had locked the area where the eclipse moon was located through satellite positioning. On the side of the operations department, Minister Tu Yunli was personally responsible for commanding the operations. However, it is said to be commanding, but in fact it is more of an observation. Because the Jiangnan Superpower Federation has just been established, the mutant forces in the outer city will not completely obey their orders. According to the intelligence of the operations department, the 10 mutant teams have formed a siege from all directions and gradually began to tighten. Southeast direction. The force coming here is the Peng Jialuo organization in Haiying City. He brought 20 elite men with him, 6 of whom are mutants with good strength. Among the remaining people, there are also elite players who are proficient in sniping, reconnaissance, and blasting. Peng Jialuo. Wait until everyone arrives at the designated location, and then we'll work together to narrow the encirclement. Don't underestimate the enemy and avoid acting on your own. But just when he was about to let the scouts investigate the nearby terrain first, his pupils shrank suddenly, because he saw a person walking slowly from the street in the city ahead. A man with slightly long hair and wearing a black combat uniform. One person... Peng Jialuo was a little surprised, and his nerves were a little tense. He immediately ordered his men to prepare for battle. When Peng Jialuo was about to continue communicating, he suddenly heard a sharp electric sound in his ears, which made his ears hurt. Peng Jialuo frowned and was about to curse, but he saw that the man stopped hundreds of meters away. His left hand was even leisurely in his pocket, looking at this side with an indifferent face. But he took out a coin with his right hand and placed it between his thumb and index finger. A white electric light suddenly burst out from his body. The coin, as a shell of the super electromagnetic cannon, penetrated the space and shot at the people of Haiying. The speed of lightning was too fast, and the people did not expect him to attack suddenly. Immediately, one of the mutants was pierced through the chest. A large burnt hole appeared in his chest, and his eyes were full of incredible expressions, and he fell straight down, Peng Jialuo said. He actually dared to take the initiative to attack. Peng Jialuo never thought that they were hunters, and the other party was the prey. But how dare the prey take the initiative to show its claws to the hunter? Damn Japanese, kill him! No matter how good Peng Jialuo's temper was, he could not tolerate the other party killing his men in front of him. He roared, and his whole body suddenly swelled up rapidly, and the golden light enveloped his body. The muscles were expanding, the body was rising, and he suddenly turned into a golden Buddha more than 4 meters high. Haeing City Buddha Core, indestructible Peng Jialuo. Although they were caught off guard, they were clearly in a numerical advantage. In addition, with Delta-level Peng Jialuo in charge, they were not afraid of Takizawa Takashi, who came alone. The advantage is mine, Peng Jialuo and others thought. Just as the group of people activated their abilities and planned to kill Takizawa Takashi, a melodious music suddenly came from a distance. The sound was deep and rich, somewhat similar to the sound of a flute. The sound floated through the concrete buildings of the city and came to the crowd of mutants in Haeing City. The scene in front of everyone was strangely distorted. The light began to become mixed, as if countless colorful butterflies were flying in front of their eyes, and the whole world became distorted. Their heads began to feel dizzy, and they didn't know where to put their hands and feet. Peng Jialuo shouted angrily, "It's a psychic ability user! Block your ears!" But the moment the music sounded, Takizawa Takashi had raised his hands, with 8 coins between his fingers, and pointed in this direction. The super electromagnetic gun caused frantic silver lightning in the air. The surging electric currents shot out with the coins, drawing 8 silver lightning tracks in the air. The encounter on Peng Jialuo's side attracted the attention of the other 9 forces. The mutants in Haeing City were attacked? They are so unlucky. It seems that someone is trying to break out of them. Should we go over to support them? Someone asked in the communication channel. The call fell into silence for a while. After a long time, someone said faintly, "Why don't we go over and take a look?" But no one responded to him. The reward for this mission is very generous, and even the one with the greatest merit can take over the entire Linhai city. The reward is so much, but there are 10 forces involved, and they are in a naked competition with each other. If Peng Jialuo's people can fight to the death with the Eclipse Moon Group and consume part of the Eclipse Moon Group's strength, it will definitely be good news for others. However, their thoughts soon changed. In Yunzhou City, the team led by Li Tianlong was still on standby, hesitating when to go over to support Peng Jialuo. Very abruptly, a sound of breaking through the air came from the sky. Li Tianlong looked up suddenly and saw a shadow swooping down from the high-rise building where they were hiding. The samurai said in a deep tone, "One sword style!" Silver blade flashed in the air, illuminating the gloomy area. Tsukamoto Nobunaga rushed into the crowd several times, and before everyone could react, 5 people had been chopped to pieces. Li Tianlong was dumbfounded. How is it possible? He was not surprised by the strength of the samurai, but the actions of the other party, as if they knew they were here. However, they obviously had satellite support from the Jiangnan region, and their intelligence was ahead of the other party. Why on earth were they found by the other party first? Not only them, but in just a few minutes, almost every mutant force was attacked by Eclipse Moon. They were hiding well and were preparing to launch a collective sprint at a signal, but every step they took seemed to be seen through by the other party, which put them in a passive state. In the combat command center of the Jiangnan region headquarters, Tu Yunli stared at the screen with his eagle-like sharp eyes. He could see these pictures through the communicators carried by the 10 major mutant organizations. Even he did not expect that they were beaten first. How could this happen? Did we leak the news? But immediately, Tu Yunli denied this idea. Impossible? The headquarters is the only place that can accurately determine the location of each force. His eyes wandered around the combat center, scanning every staff member on the scene. Then he shook his head and denied this idea again. The security level of the command center is the highest. Every message sent here will be intercepted, and no one can pass on information to them across the security network. Then, it should be some kind of superpower. Exploration-type superpowers? Can it cover such a large area? Tu Yunli's eyes became sharper and sharper, and he suddenly felt that this incident was becoming a little tricky. The battle in Linhai City has already begun. The sudden situation caught everyone off guard. The 10 major forces were a little panicked at first, and they lost some of their combat power due to the surprise attack. But after all, they are also powerful and domineering. Soon they stabilized their position, especially when they found that they were not the entire Eclipse group, but only 1 or 2 people. They began to feel relieved. Especially in the east of the city, the 2 teams of Li Guoqiang from Bacheng and Meng Shucheng from Xixing joined forces to fight against the enemy. Their opponent was only a man in a suit as strong as a bear, carrying a cello case. Just one person? Li Guoqiang frowned. He wondered if these Japanese people had a problem with their brains. Didn't they see that there were about 40 to 50 people from the 2 families on his side? It would be almost like he was going to die alone. Kill! Li Guoqiang didn't say much nonsense. There was no possibility of peace talks between the 2 sides, and he didn't understand what the other party was saying. Immediately, 10 sharpshooters came out, holding sniper rifles and aiming at and started shooting, and they used high-energy bullets that the Jiangnan district had approved for them to use against mutants. The person in front of them is Dagonghui Yanjin,